Welcome to Still City Growth. I'm your host, Bill Ildenfritz. Each week, we'll explore the passions, expertise, and experiences of business owners and founders in the greater Pittsburgh area. Still City Growth is proudly sponsored by Murphy Business of Pittsburgh, committed to providing exceptional services to meet all your business needs. Let's dive in.
But if it is one of the most expensive errors because a single error can cost up to $400.
Karen Young, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Bill. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I can't wait. I've been looking forward to this episode for sure. So let's
Thank
start
you.
off a little bit with, tell me about your journey. How did you get here? Tell me a little about your background and your journey.
Oh my gosh. Well, I accidentally fell into HR my sophomore year in college. I was originally a music major. Had a deal with my parents. I had to go to college for 1 year. They paid 100% of it. If I didn't like it at the end of 1 year, I could move home rent-free as long as I had a job. First semester was terrible. They're thinking, oh, she's coming home. So I became a business major and started to really enjoy college. And second semester, probably first semester, sometime early in my college career, I took an organizational psychology course and I went, oh my gosh, this is what I wanted to do. There was in the dark ages, there was no such thing as a human resource major. So I added psychology as a major. And it was a couple years out of college until I got my first real HR job. But what I did, I had been with Wendy's they were my first job when I turned 16. And after college, I went back to them in their management program. And what I did was I accepted any and all human resource or personnel jobs as an assistant manager that, the general manager and the other managers didn't want to handle. I took them all. So I was doing HR in kind of a roundabout way. And then once I got my break, I haven't looked back. 20 plus years ago, I got disillusioned with corporate America. And my husband and I talked about it. And I was the breadwinner, so it was a massive leap. But we talked about it. We had 2 years. I wouldn't have to make a single sale. In 2005, I left one job on January 14th. It was a Friday. And on Monday, the 17th, I had my first signed contract. So it was kind of meant to be.
Yes.
And we've grown to a point now where we're 20 plus years in business. We service well over 100 clients a year by providing fractional human resource support, just the pieces and the parts that they need when they need one and when they need them. And we focus on small businesses that don't have a need for a full-time HR department. I've grown to a staff of 6 right now, and we're about to start to hire for number 7. And I'm still loving what I do every day.
Yeah.
Well, okay, almost every day. There are days that it's a job.
That's correct. That's correct. You know what's interesting is I actually started at McDonald's at 16. And a lot of people have asked me over my career, like what job has helped you and stuff like that. McDonald's, their training program and the Wendy's, and I'll never forget this, put their aces in their places. That's one of my managers told me that. And that has always stuck out with me and it helped me, over all these years. So Wendy's, McDonald's, they definitely can help for sure.
It's amazing. And the people that turn their nose up when they talk about fast food, I received tremendous, and they supported me through college. I worked part-time as a crew leader through college. They welcomed me back after college. So yeah, it was an excellent experience.
Yes, definitely. So you touched on this a little bit, but did you always want to be a business owner?
No, farthest thing from my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always, it's funny. Early in my career, I'm a baby boomer. I'm on the cusp. Some people say I'm Jenna. I'm a baby boomer. And I was raised by a traditionalist. And so I was always following that corporate ladder. I moved up through the organization. So I moved from, an assistant personnel manager to, it was a bizarre title. What was it? Multi-facility human resource manager. Salespeople always said, oh, those MFHR people that don't bump. Moved up to my highest position in corporate was actually a director of HR, where I reported into an executive vice president of human resources, and I had 7 HR specialists reporting into me. Bill, I was miserable. I
Yeah.
was miserable in that C-suite because I missed working with the people. And I actually started working my way down through organizations. And you want to talk about people looking at you like you've got two heads
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you want to do that. But I discovered at that point what my love was, and my love was working with the employees. My original intent with organizational psychology was all about culture and how do we motivate our employees to do better? My senior thesis was all about the different cultures. That was when it was IBM Blue, and there were four distinct cultures in the dark ages. And my senior undergraduate thesis was on that. And it's funny how I've come full circle now. And at least at HR Resolutions, it is all about work life balance. And so, no, I did not always know I wanted to be a business owner, but I have zero regrets today.
That's
Zero.
excellent.
Best move
So
I ever made.
yeah. So tell the listeners if they're a little unfamiliar with fractional HR, what is that? Like
Sure.
what name me a couple reasons why somebody, driving their car, listening to this should call you.
Great question, Bill. So, for example, we have somebody that's just reached out to us. They've been trying to they are a branch manager and a general manager of a particular business. They've been trying to write their own employee handbook for 6 months now. They're frustrated. It's not their job. They don't have the expertise in human resources. That is the perfect time to give us a call, and we'll come in, we'll help them with the handbook, and then we'll go away unless they have future questions about, recruiting and retaining employees. If they have questions about interpreting their handbook. So that's one example. We have another example, long-term client has reached out to us. They're having challenges with their recruiting. Now, we're not a staffing agency, we're not a headhunter, but we do recruiting just like a company's HR department would. So we partner with them. We try to get a really good understanding of exactly what their needs are. And so we'll come alongside with them for that one project, and then we'll go away again. So we really strive toward providing that piece of HR that's missing, but only when they need it. Now, of course, we have some companies where we literally are their HR department, but again, they're not large enough to have their own HR department, and it's so much more cost effective than bringing someone in. Rule of thumb for a degreed certified HR professional is you don't need one really until you get to 100 employees. Now, granted, HR is, even for HR professionals, it seems like it never stops changing. So for
Mhm.
those that it's not their profession, it's not their passion, it's very difficult to keep up with the rules and the regulations. So that's where we come alongside and we help and we fill that piece, that missing piece for them.
Yeah, that's a great service. I can just tell you, I mean, I have small companies, big companies, very, very large companies, and HR has definitely played a role, just teaching me and training me. And like you said, there is so much that's always changing. So I think that's a great service, great service.
Thank you.
What
Thank you.
what do you think is the number one mistake that business owners make and may cost them big?
Oh my gosh. The number one thing we find if we do a compliance audit, the number one thing we find are errors in their I-9 form, which is the Immigration and Naturalization Services form, where an employee has to demonstrate that they are eligible to work in the United States. So tactically, that's the number one mistake we find. And in reality, it's unlikely it's going to be uncovered by immigration and control. But if it is one of the most expensive errors because a single error can cost up to single error on one form, such as having the date incorrect. It has to be month, day, year. So 3/9/25 wouldn't work. It has to be 03/09/2025. That mistake alone can be $400. There are at least three places on the form where you have to put the date. The likelihood that you do it right two of three places is slim. So that's possibly a $1,200 error right there. But again, the likelihood that that's going to be uncovered is very rare, except in certain industries.
Yeah.
I would say probably the biggest and the costliest error that employers make is we want to be nice people. We don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. And I have a perfect case study. We helped one of our clients. They had a manager on a performance improvement plan. We did everything we were supposed to through the entire 90 days of that. We had our regular follow-up meetings. We had documentation of progress and lack of progress. We got to the 90th day. There was no aha moment of improvement, and we made the decision that the individual had to go. So instead of in the meeting with the individual, instead of saying, as you have agreed through this entire process, you did not meet these expectations and we have to let you go, they said, we're going a different direction, which they were, but this was a female manager, and the different direction was to outsource the work to a male dominant company. The individual filed a claim with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission for gender discrimination. She was usually, when it gets to that point, there's going to be some type of a settlement. She had requested a 6-figure settlement. Because of our documentation, we did get it down to a $28,000 settlement. But if we had been honest in that one meeting, and I appreciate we don't want to hurt people's feelings, but this was not the person, this was the performance that
Mhm.
was, deficient. That one statement cost them $28,000 plus. I'm not an attorney, so there had to be an attorney involved. It cost us an entire day in mediations. It was a big expense. Average equal employment opportunity claim is over $200,000. And that's
Wow.
just the settlement to the individual. That's not everything that goes into it. And a claim can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to go through. So by not having these honest conversations with our employees, we're setting ourselves up for a lot of risk. And Bill, I don't like to tell somebody that they haven't met my expectations, but I have to remember it's not the person. The person is good. The person means well. 99 out of 100 times they mean well. And a lot of times it's because I didn't make my expectations crystal clear. So who's to blame in that situation? Now, once I've had the honest conversation and I've said, Bill, do you understand the goal we are working toward? And you say yes, then that's a different story. But again, it's not you, Bill, it's your performance.
Yeah.
And that puts us as employers at so much risk. But I get it. It's hard to do.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great,
Yeah.
Craig. I've been in a couple depositions and stuff like that as a VP, and it hangs on words.
They're exhausting, weren't they?
It's not you go in and use something really bad.
Right.
It's words sometimes. So no, I totally hear you.
Yeah,
Talk a
absolutely.
little bit about.
I told a
Sorry, go ahead.
group yesterday. It is absolutely fine to have honest conversations. We're not going to get in trouble by telling the truth.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. That is really, really great advice. Talk a little bit about culture and,
Mm.
give me maybe one or two things you can do to help a small business owner's culture.
Sure. Number one thing is you have to listen to your employees. You have to know them. You have to, another phrase I used yesterday was we have to show grace to our employees. We have to show grace to ourselves as business owners also. We generally will beat ourselves up more than anybody else can. So we have to show ourselves grace. But we have to understand, I have 5 people working for me. They each have different needs. They each have a different work style. I cannot expect them all to approach their work the same manner. Now, we do have expectations for client service. I do expect them all to meet those, but they all do it differently, and that's okay. And I have to know those differences. I have to know if they're having a bad day. And if I don't know the individual, it's harder to know if they're having a bad day, if they're having a good day. Some employees appreciate that they have a flexible work schedule. Others don't. Others want that set schedule of, I know that from here to here, I'm at work. So I use that time. I shut off anything that's going on in my personal world. And for some people, that is their break from their stressors in their personal life. So I have to recognize that. The other thing is, ask your employees what works for them. I have some employees that love when I praise them in the group Teams chat. I have others that are absolutely mortified that they're getting the public notice. So it's very important to recognize what is going to raise that individual, what's going to raise this individual up, and be able to tweak it. And that sounds funny coming from an HR person. It sounds funny that you treat your people differently. Well, you have to. Now, I have the same expectations for everybody, but I respect each of them enough to know they approach their work differently. And setting aside time, we have one-on-one meetings every week where the way I approach it, and I'm 90% sure my leaders do it this way. Hopefully, I'm demonstrating by leadership or proving by example. I start out with, how can I be of service to you this week? How can I help you? It's not about me. It's not about what the company needs from them. It's about what do they need from me. And I make sure that time is on my calendar. It is focused. It is their time. Everything else is shut down. I am there for them. That is the greatest gift we can give our employees, to be available for them. And that doesn't mean I need to drop everything. If they've got an issue, I don't have to drop everything. But I do need to be respectful enough to say, hey, I'm in the middle of something right now. Can we talk in an hour? And that works. Just acknowledging and then being available for them. I think that is the greatest way to start to set a culture of, it's safe here. I want you to come to me with your challenges and your issues. I will help you if I can. If I can't, I will get you the resources that can. And showing grace. People make mistakes. I make mistakes. I've probably made some of the biggest mistakes that HR Resolutions has ever made. And it's okay.
Yeah. No, that is
So,
really, really, really good advice. Thank you for
yeah.
sharing. That is really, really good advice. What is the craziest challenge a client has given you, and how did you solve it?
My goodness, there are so many. My next book is actually on working with the worst, how to deal with bad behavior from or the true cost of bad behavior from employees and bosses. So,
Wow.
and it's going to be my book of stories. I always said I was
Yeah.
going to write a tell all before I retired. I would say the craziest thing was, was actually probably one of my first interactions as a new HR manager, and this wasn't under HR Resolutions. This was when I was just starting out. Hadn't even worked with his general manager yet. He called me. He said, I've got a situation. And it was like pulling teeth to try to get it out of him. I'm like, what's going on? I want to help you. Tell me what's going on. And so he finally got around to it in enough detail that I said, he's mooning his coworkers. And the GM went, no, other side. I'm like, well, all right then. So I'll be there tomorrow at 3 o'clock because it was a second shift. So I went in, interviewed the complainant, interviewed a couple of his coworkers, and I interviewed the alleged winger of things. And so he is so close to getting off scot-free because at this point it's he said, she said. Nobody has seen this. And he finally, at the end of the interview, I'm about ready to thank him for his time, send him back to work, and then conclude. He said, let's
Yeah.
just do a training on, I think everybody got the message that you don't do this at work. Let everybody go. He must have had his fill with it because he stood up at the table across from me and the GM. GM has a hairline much like yours. This guy stands up. He does a Michael Jackson crotch grab and says, I'm done. Do you want to see it? GM is turning red the whole way through his hairline. I stood up and matched him without the crotch grab. I just leaned in on the table and I said, you are so fired.
Yeah.
HR doesn't usually make the decision to fire. We usually do our investigation. We make a recommendation and the manager fires. But in
Yeah.
that moment, it just came out of me.
Yeah.
And naturally, my recommendation was going to be that he needed to be fired. But
Yeah.
yeah, that is probably, and what a way to start my experience as a manager.
That's
But
funny.
and my manager got the biggest kick out of it. He asked me if I had taken my ruler or my magnifying glass along with me. HR people are the worst. We just yeah, because
Yes.
we know what we're not supposed to do. So when we're not around our people,
Yes. Yes. Really
yeah,
true.
that's probably the craziest one.
Wow.
But
That is funny.
yeah,
That is really funny for sure. If you can go back in time to your younger self, say to stay
yeah.
you're starting your business, what would you tell yourself today? Tell yourself then.
Ask more questions. Don't I'm not a was not a salesperson. I was an HR person. So I would get all that, the commission high anytime
Mhm.
would bite at the opportunity. And I would start to solve problems before I knew the real problem. So ask more questions. I may know the answer, but I don't need to share it quite yet until I'm sure that that really is the answer. So ask a lot of questions. Develop the relationship first. And then the other thing is a no is absolutely okay. I grew up in any sales experience I had was every no is one step closer to a yes. But now it's like, a no is okay. If it's not a fit for them, then it's not going to be a fit for us. But I've also gotten much stronger. If it's not a fit for us, it's a no-go. And I remember the first time turning away business, asking myself afterwards, are you nuts? But no, not every dollar is a good dollar.
No, I
So
agree.
ask more questions so that you can answer correctly, so that you can provide the right solution, not necessarily the immediate solution.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, kind of a funny question. If you had to pick pierogies or permane sandwich the rest of your life, what would you pick?
Easy one, pierogies. I'm Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That was simple. That was simple for you. Very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
that was an easy one.
Yes. 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 Yes.
I
What has
like
I
that
know?
question.
Yeah, I know that you obviously don't live directly in Pittsburgh. Tell me, what are your experiences of Pittsburgh? How do you like Pittsburgh? What's your experiences of Pittsburgh?
I'm a Steelers fan. I'm a Pirates fan. I have been there for training. Would love to get to a Pirates game and a Steelers game. My stepkids go at least once a year. In fact, my youngest stepdaughter is married to a man from Seattle, and they were just at the Steelers Seahawks game.
Yeah.
My goodness. But yeah, beautiful city. I am so proud to see how it has redeveloped itself and how it has re-energized itself. So kudos to the chambers in the area, kudos to the businesses and the residents in the area.
Yeah. Perfect.
It's a good place.
Yes. Yes, I love him. Pittsburgh boy for sure. So I want to thank you. I mean, I think this is very, very enlightening, and you shared and gave some great things. But before we leave, definitely, how can we connect with you? Because I want to make sure they're driving their car and they might, hey, look, I have some of these HR issues. What's the best way to connect with you? How can they get a hold of you?
Best way is our website is very informative. You may even find some free help there that you didn't know you needed, but it is HRResolutions.com, and you can reach out to me through there. Our phone number's there. There's a contact us spot as well. I do a free quarterly e-news, and there's also some electronic information that goes out. Like, for example, during COVID, I made a commitment to my clients. I read everything that came in. And
Cool.
then once a week, I sent a summary out to our clients and said, read this, not this. Look at this. Don't bother with this. Yeah. So I will do things like that because my profession changes overnight sometimes. So,
Yeah, like, I can safely say, because of my career, it is great
yeah,
to consult an HR person for sure. So I would definitely reach out. And all your address and stuff will be on the notes for all the audience.
super.
Want to
Okay.
thank you again for definitely being on the show. I appreciate
Oh,
you.
Bill, thank you for the invite. I love it.
Very good. And thank you, audience. I hope you learned something today. Please like, share, tell other people about this episode. This has been another exciting episode of Still City Growth. See you next time. That's a wrap on another episode of Still City Growth. Thanks for joining us. For show notes and more, visit stillcitygrowth.live. Until next time.